They've been rotting away on IRC for over 20 years, since Digitiser was on your CRT.
Your putrid opinions!
Do it! Do it! I want you to do it!
Hello again, everyone. This is Andrew from Pressbox Productions, and welcome to my review and reaction of Digitiser episode 4. Now, if you haven't noticed, this isn't on my original channel now. It is on my new Weird Reviews channel. And this channel is mostly made for things like, well, reviews for the most part. Digitiser is kind of an exception because I want to do reactions and reviews for it. And this will be able to clear up my channel because I was doing reviews on my channel before, but this will hopefully leave it a lot less cluttered than it was getting. So, back to this. Like I said, we're going to episode 4, and the insanity is just growing, and as it grows, I think I'm losing a little more of my own sanity the further I go in. Basically, it's the same thing I went through back when I did found footage. I don't think I'm going to come out of this with my mind intact. But anyway, that's not really important. So without further ado, let's get back to Digitiser.
I'm Mr. Bitfo and I welcome you to Digitiser, the only retro gaming show that's powered by Swan Juice.
Wait, Swan Juice? Wait a minute. Wasn't there like the swan stuff from the first episode? If the swan is like too damp or something?
In association with swan juice.
Oh, okay then.
Made from the dirty drips of swans.
Wait, what do you mean dirty drips?
I've been wondering. It's been keeping me up at night.
Why can't you use the clean ones?
Screaming.
What, are they toxic because they're not dirty?
I knew what Larry's favourite gaming soundtrack was.
Are you talking about an actual licensed music or actual
Whatever you want, it doesn't matter. This is just filler.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Thank you for admitting it.
I would like to say Grand Theft Auto Vice City, because it's got a really nice 80s soundtrack.
Yes.
Octavia.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. Vice City had probably one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in any game. Barring some of the ones that I'm gonna say, like Final Fantasy VII, because I have way more nostalgia for that, considering that was one of the first RPGs I ever played.
It's good to with your bow in your hair there, like someone.
Like you just don't care.
No, I'm fishing for a thing about. No, okay.
What?
If everyone lets me finish my train of thought, I was going to say no, it's fine.
No.
I'll get there.
You're running out of tape.
You're like a man.
The train derailed or something?
Bow ties falling.
You know, there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
We all like our walk.
Games should have more prog soundtracks.
What's your favourite soundtrack then?
Oh,
Echo the Dolphin.
Oh.
Particularly Mega CD version.
oh, okay then, that's actually cool.
Yeah, it's tranquil. It's properly new age. Phone's ringing.
What?
Take that off. Go on.
Why does the phone always ring after he says the phone? Well, I know why really, but why does that always have like, oh, the phone's ringing?
Hello?
I think there should be a scene where he holds the phone upside down.
Talking to you, I'm talking to the person on the phone.
The real person on the phone.
Well, I'll ask him,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yeah.
when you were growing up, is it true that your imaginary friend was a fellow pervert?
What?
Yeah.
Who told him that? No one speaks about Tarquin that way. He's just peculiar.
Oh no, he's back.
Fat Sal, the furious pig.
Oh, that's his name.
Well, there you go.
Shut up! You ratchet bellend!
I know this didn't come in on the second video because of the way the original thing got corrupted. But who's controlling the pig? I mean, Biffle's hands are like right there, and I don't think it's using his legs to do this.
You emasculated servant! You impotent cretin! You feeble vapor! You look like
Yeah.
a piece of string.
What?
Because you're
What?
thin and you look white.
Well, okay then.
You look like a piece of paper that's been put on top of a jam jar.
What does that even mean?
You
Exactly what you
are
think
like
it
a
does.
piece of glass that someone's put on a shelf.
Right, no.
It just goes like.
Fat sour.
Ouch.
Oh yeah, that's what Fat Sal was gonna say.
What? Oh, he's back.
Also, Paul, you idiot.
Yeah.
You can only think of fucking 3 names: Keith, Tarquin, and John. Have an imagination. Why would your imaginary friend who's a pervert be called Tarquin? Why not the fucking Wirral? You'd be called Paul as well, like all of you fuckers.
Okay.
Fat
Is he
Sal
coming
done?
back?
Yes.
Okay, he's gone for good.
I can't wait to read your comments on this episode.
You know, being on YouTube for this long, I think Insincere Dave might actually be insincere about that one.
You better not blink. Indy 500 roars into the R zone. Are you ready?
Octavius Ken.
I do
what
not-
have you
well, I remember
bought
that.
To show me
Never
today?
had one, but
Well,
I
Mr.
wanted it.
Biffo, I have got a big flangeling wop scallop that will make your frubes twist.
And that's the end of that section. No, let's hear about
No, we
it.
need to talk about this. It's very important that you hear
I
about
saw
it.
it somewhere.
I
just
have
can't
brought
remember
you
where.
the Tiger R-Zone, released in 1995 and then discontinued in 1997. Tiger, you
Can't
probably
imagine
know that
why,
as being the,
but it looked cool
the lads and ladies
to me,
who did
anyway.
those handheld LCD
Now that I'm
thingamajigglers.
grown,
If you're a
it
kid,
looks
you
kind of
got no money,
unusual. It
then
looks
you'll
like a
buy 'em,
scouter.
sort of
They
thing.
did.
And it was supposed to be not necessarily competing with the Virtual Boy because
Yeah,
let's
not
look at it,
competing.
it's trash.
Not competing
It was
with the
also
Virtual
only
Boy,
about, I think it was only $30
despite
when
the
it was
fact that-
released, so it's much more of an accessible console.
Right.
But obviously because it was that cheap, it was very rubbish. Would you like to play?
Can't imagine it be good if it were cheap.
Yes, right. So, oh, it's so
Oh,
bad.
that's weird in itself.
Yes.
It looks like
Oh, I
loads
remember
of
now.
Slides, like kind of photograph slides that they put in a thing.
Yeah, well,
Shut my wall.
that's exactly how this works.
Okay.
So it's actually got a light
one-
in here and it's going to project onto this reflective screen. The main LCD gubbins is happening on this actual cartridge itself, but then you have this backing plastic bit which will have a background, like in this case it's got some mounting.
I remember
They're
this
robust
now.
cartridges, you know, so you've got that, and I'll put in this
I remember
thing
what
in
my
is
brother
a bit
didn't want
of
one.
a nightmare, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice click. Oh, it's on already.
Exciting, right?
A little bit.
Right.
I remember this thing. It's just I don't because we never had one. I thought it looked cool, but I can't remember why my brother never bought one. And then I remember, and then the fact that you have to put the cartridge in and it's supposed to reflect off of send light through it and reflect off the screen. I think that's probably why it was too damn cheap for my brother's taste to actually get one. Doesn't mean he couldn't have got me one.
That's it. Look how cool.
Granted, I
it
probably
is.
wouldn't have wouldn't have used it to be on like the 5 minutes since I got it.
Look at it. It's so shit.
Get it angled. It's like if someone.
Yeah, I feel like if
so
I-
that's one of the problems with it.
I feel like if I took this thing to school, I would have been bullied worse than I was. It does look like crap.
Might have
Now
to
that I
tighten
get
you
a-
up. Got the
Pinching your hair,
circulation
but that's
to your
fine.
brain. Target is being sold on a portable device.
Right.
So there's your controller.
Okay, now what?
Why didn't they put this over
you
your
just
both
put it
your
in.
eyes? Because
Okay,
this looks
okay,
kind of
firstly,
cumbersome.
I've got to close one eye to do it. This is now closed the other eye because it's pushed down over it. It's like at the end of Rocky where, you know, he gets punched and they have to cut his eye. I've even hit myself in the bloody thing now. Now I can't see it at all. This is the first time I played this, by the way, everyone. This is not some like, oh, I'm doing this because it's funny. Can you angle this?
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can angle it.
But even so.
So what all you're seeing is the reflection of what's
Oh,
of the
right.
cartridge.
Okay, so I can press start.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a kind of fighty man.
Yes, this is a fighty man game.
You know, I feel like this would be. I feel like this would be better
it's not-
suited. I feel like this would be like better suited for like Ashton's channel, where he looks at like the pop station. Granted, this wasn't. I don't think this would count, but it does seem like it comparing to the ones he's done before.
Virtual tool, is it? It's pointless.
Don't say that.
Why not?
What's happening? I pressed start. Oh no, it's another fighting man.
Yeah, so you need to get the fighting
Can't
man.
see us any of this.
Oh, okay. Oh no, they're kicking. Okay, I've managed to, why are they fighting with? They look like they're fighting with hockey sticks. Oh no, that one, he has got a sword.
Yes.
She has. It looks like a ladle.
What do you think about the graphics?
Happening?
Well, they're standard kind of LCD or LED kind of graphics. Yes, and I'll tell you why, because the contact lens in this eye is dried out now, and it has gone all kind of weird and... No,
well, okay, so basically you can't put this thing with contact lenses because it'll just become uncomfortable.
Contact lens is dried out. It pinches my hair.
Granted, this whole thing would be
think about
uncomfortable
it, okay,
to wear now that I look at it.
Are you? If you're one of those kids who doesn't really have a lot of money,
But it's not virtual, it's not 3D.
Yes, it's ridiculous, which is the reason why.
But I was a kid who didn't have a lot of money growing up. Granted, we still had every console somehow, but I would not have wanted that. Well, I did want it because it looked cool, but my brother didn't want it because he knew how absolute crap it was.
They brought out the super screen.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
So you can play all of the games, I think all of them, from this lad on this big beefy boy.
Right.
What?
Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Which is
What
the
is
cartridge slot is on the bottom of that.
Yes, and also the focus
What?
is also on the bottom of it.
What?
So I have no idea if this was meant to be a sort of
What is this
portable
thing?
version. I doubt it. It
doesn't look
feels
What?
like you could kill someone with.
What? This was made by Tiger, right? Who the thought this thing would be a good idea? Now I know the Game Gear was like a beefy thing to carry around, and it had like a really bad battery life. But why the would anybody want to carry this thing around? How would you carry this thing around? It looks like, was it intended to be made for portable use? I mean, that doesn't even make sense with the size of this thing.
It's not
Can I have a heft?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bloody hell, that's really heavy.
That's because
I
it's
understand why they say you can kill somebody
it
with
has
that.
only 4 D batteries.
I admit, I sort of like the look of it. I like that kind of big screen. I fully expected to be let down by this, but I kind of like it.
Right.
I want to see how
can
this
I
thing
entice
works.
you
I
with
mean,
a
I
little cheeky
really
bit
want
of
to.
This licensed game of Batman and Robin.
What?
One of the best Batman films to show you screen.
Yeah.
You need the background for this. So this
Okay,
That's
so wait a minute, so
Batman
you took the background off the other one?
yeah,
game
I did.
for,
I
this.
assume there was a background intended for this, but I don't know where it is. So I'm just going to use the background from the fighting game, which is a mountain range.
So you could theoretically put Batman in all sorts of different
Oh
environments.
yeah, wherever you want.
Okay,
Make
so
your
these
own.
games are
Don't
customizable
need
at least.
bars.
Yes. So this one. Don't give me giggles. That's not fair. I can't get it in now. I'm all flustered. There, we'll do it. It's in.
Hey!
Finally,
That's
right.
weird. but-
It is weird. Check it out.
Okay, I'm liking all this.
How nice is that? You can fold it up.
Oh,
Well,
we're in. There we go. We have a
Yay.
noise.
This thing actually
Boys
works.
and girls.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, let's have a go.
Do you
Oh my god.
I want to see like how this thing. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay.
Okay, start. Okay, Batman walking. The resolution of the screen is so poor.
No, it's all you're getting annihilated. Look,
You know, I like how people always give crap about the game, like talk about the Game Boy, how it had like terrible, how it had terrible lighting and everything. And the Game Boy Advance had to like, you always had to sit under a massive lamp to just see what's going on. This looks even worse. Now I know people like to say stuff about the Game Boy, and they say like, oh, you had to like sit under the surface of the sun or something like that. It would be true for this thing. Looking at the huge light it's under, and that's just enough to see what's going on.
there's a lad on a
But I don't know,
motorbike
there's
there.
4 buttons. This seems. Oh my god, that back kick! Okay, we have to get. This.
What was that?
And
Like,
he looks over his shoulder like he's surprised when his leg flies out behind him. As you would be, admittedly.
I think this
What
game
is that
actually has
leg
a number
movement?
of different screen type kind of bit and bobs, really,
Okay.
which makes it sound really complex, but it isn't.
Right, I'm turning it off. I've had enough
please
of that.
do.
Are you not very much enjoying the music?
No.
I can imagine that this is the type of thing that North Korea would use to torture and re-educate people. This is Maybe that's why maybe they use them there. Maybe this is why they hate us. We keep sending them this stuff.
Okay. As you can tell, this was a little bit of a failure. After this, they actually released a pocket version as well. Can't remember what that was.
Flogging a dead horse.
Yeah, there was a 4th version. Yeah.
Almost like just gonna do the Tim Allen grunt just for a second.
So you had like a calendar, a calculator, that sort of thing you jug on it, and you could also play games on it. So
and they were all called R-Zone.
Yeah.
What do the R stand for? I think we can guess, can't we, everybody? Rubbish. Rubbish zone.
Well,
it's a load of rubbish. And that was show and tell. Thank you, Octavius.
From out of the R-Zone comes something so big.
It glows.
It's humongous. It's the R-Zone Super Screen, the biggest tabletop
I like how
cartridge game screen you've ever
they like make it seem way cooler than it actually is. It's not gonna be that cool. It never is.
It has been a while since we two last crossed paths. What an absolute delight it is to bump against you once again, here at another one of the Ambassador's legendary soirees. Allow me to bring you up to speed with
legendary soirees. You're the only one there.
Been bolstering my collection of magazines with back issues of Dragon User.
What?
You remember the Dragon 32, don't you?
No,
it was
I
the
don't.
proverbial also ran in the 1980s personal computer stakes. Come, take my hand, and together
Why are you
we
wearing
shall
a robe
peruse
to this
my
kind of
chart
party?
back issues together.
Wait, what
I
kind of
promise
party
I
is
shan't
this?
issue upon any tone. How I'd like to grip that necktie of yours between my teeth and help you to tone up. What's that in your right hand? Input and output terminal.
Okay, it is that kind of party, isn't it?
According to Sony, the PS2 is a computer, not a console.
Well, actually, I
The
didn't know this
launch
one.
machine came bundled with a copy of Linux.
I actually did know this. Because my brother actually told me about this, and this was after he sort of like looked through the thing itself, because he had to like repair it himself at one point. But he did like do a lot of work on it. So yeah, he did know this, and he did tell me about it, and we still have it. Okay then.
This game is entitled Prog Rock or Signosis. Now,
oh, okay.
We have this team here, this team, and
this is
that
gonna get
team.
interesting.
And you've got to guess whether
I
the
wanna see
image
this.
is a prog rock album cover or a Signosis game cover. Are we all familiar with Signosis? The Liverpool-based developer did a lot of Amiga games back in the day.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I never owned an Amiga.
Yes,
That's the only fact I know.
We're going to have team this first. So, prog rock album cover or Signosis game? What do we think?
Prog
I
rock.
like the dragon. It's very...
I think it's prog rock because it looks like something from that scene from Venture Brothers, actually, and it looks just like it.
Very emotive.
So I'm guessing, but still.
Dingley Dells, Wisps of the Willow variety. I like its fantasy structure. To me, that screams prog rock.
I see. To me,
I
that feels
agree.
very gamey. Dragons in the mountains.
You're also right.
RPGs.
Let me give you a
Makes
little
sense, but
hint here.
I'm gonna go with prog rock.
All these covers are all done by Roger Dean, the artist.
So there's continuity between all the images.
Yes.
That makes it super tough.
Then I'm going to say that's the inner sleeve of an album.
Jenny, do you concur?
I don't concur, but on the basis that we're a team, and I don't know, and I would have to flip a coin.
Was there somebody walking by in the background just then?
The answer is... It's a game. It's a Signosis
Oh,
cover.
really?
Barbarian.
Wow, I've never seen that.
I've never seen
Barbarian.
that.
There we go.
However,
Am I the only one who
it
sees the man back
would
there?
make a great title for a prog rock album.
Barbarian.
Barbarian with their latest album.
Barbarian.
Barbarians.
Barbarian. Or Signosis.
Yeah, that dragon doesn't know whether it wants to be a dragon or a koi carp.
It's all mixed up with itself, isn't it?
Looking at that giant marble, I'm just
Well,
wondering...
that's what I'm thinking, that maybe it's some kind of marble-based game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know any Signosis marble-based
Probable.
games?
None.
Then it turns out
Right,
it's
well,
prog rock or something.
It's an album by Asia.
Oh.
Next one.
What?
Team
Really?
That. What do we have here? Or
See,
Psygnosis game.
that looks proper sci-fi game to me.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't mind that. What do we think?
Okay then, this is a weird looking one.
I kind of feel like because there's a subject.
The cross between, what is it, a cross between a
metal
xenomorph and a
with
bicycle?
apparently a baby on his back made out of metal.
It's got
Is
a
that a
baby ant.
Yeah.
Giant baby ant
That
that
kind of
spits
fits-
out marbles.
Yeah, this could be the character,
Iron
maybe.
Sun. Here, Prog or Psygnosis?
This looks
That
like
doesn't
yes.
look remotely gamey to me.
No.
Famous last words.
Can I view it closer?
It looks like the cover of one of the S
Do you mean
albums.
getting up?
Yeah.
Can I get up?
Well, we can't see then.
Oh, look, he's just wants all eyes on his bottom.
Don't do that.
Okay, that's a bit too close to Jenny there.
I think because of the aspect ratio, that's an album. I'm going to say prog.
Yeah, me too.
Prog. Yeah.
There we go. Look.
Yes,
Fragile
I
by
knew
Yes,
it.
the
I knew
classic.
it. I knew
Well,
it.
what do you think
I
of this
knew
one?
it because it has the
Look
song
at that
Roundabout, I
terrifying
think.
sinew pony.
Sinew. It's a meat pony.
That's horrific. Wow.
Maybe he's just done a poon. So,
What?
No indicate that he has there. But
What?
That for a start.
cybernetic
horses. Horses do.
It's like
And people who comes out of that.
All right, it's an album. Let's stop with the crassness. Thank you. Move on.
Yes, mother. What do we think?
What?
Yeah.
album.
Yeah, it is. Paladin. Paladin.
Paladin Charge.
There we go. And that's the end.
Oh,
of
what's this one?
What?
And that was Quiz Me Do.
What just happened?
You come to my drift. One lump or two. I assume you like yours with cream. I see he's wearing a dark
I don't want it
woollen
with your
sweater.
cream, man.
He'll
I
certainly
really
be a
don't.
sweater after I've pulled his cuff back a few times. No need to be coy. Let's see those hairy wrists in action, my sweet.
What kind of party is that? Like, honestly, what? Wait. Oh. Okay. Okay then.
Yeah, you two with the cool kids. Look, I've even got a tattoo now. How cool am I? Oh, yes. Today.
The cool kids, huh? Well, okay then.
I catch me back with motion sickness. Genuinely have. My inner ear's gone. So, where was I? Yeah, cool tattoo. Mystery guest. So, today's guest, who we are going to be asking to part our flat, he's already having a little dance. Look, he can't wait. He's one of the best stand-ups in Britain today. He's a very avid gamer and he's worked for some of the biggest games companies in the world. Imran Yusuf, would you please part our flaps? There he is!
Well, okay.
Thank you for coming. And you've gone for Killer Instinct.
I have.
It's a bold choice.
It is.
And for a lot of Nintendo fans particularly, we were promised something on the N64 that
Yes.
we never got.
Yeah.
Because it was meant to look like what you're about to play.
Yeah.
And it was a bit
Well, and when Killer Instinct Gold happened on the N64, they went for a different art style and it didn't quite look the same or feel the same. But when this came out in the arcades, especially with the coming to your homes in 1995, only on Nintendo Ultra 64, that it just blew our mind, and it was very different to the other beat 'em ups. It had its very own.
I was thinking about like how they were talking about how the Nostalgia Nerd was saying about how Sega had betrayed him because they were promised 2D Sonic. It seems like all the game companies did it back then. They promised us something, and then we never got it, or we got it in another way that we didn't want it.
Case?
So this was Rare.
I remember
Maidens.
this
They had
game
a
though.
Silicon Graphics,
I don't remember from
Indigo
where,
machine,
because I might have
off
played
the
it in like
back of that, they developed this,
Boomers or in
ACM
GameWorks or
modeling
something.
that they used for Donkey Kong and for this.
I can't remember because I remember playing this with my brother at least a few times.
Pre-render them, so that it's really hard.
I can tell.
I'm just getting mashed up by this guy. There is just.
It's not really fair, is it? A boxer versus a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Well,
it's never going to be a fair
how did this?
Oh man.
Just a boxer versus a dinosaur. How did that even happen?
Format point.
All right.
Get full feed. Go on.
Do you want to spit that out a little bit more clearly?
Yeah. You're a mind robber.
I'm a mind robber. So,
well,
snog of a game that you'd give a big old kiss to.
Well, he's definitely doing it to me, and I feel like I've lost a lot of my
Getting,
sanity from watching
I think
only
it
the
has
first
to be
3
Mario
episodes of this.
64. No
There may not
game
be much
has
left to me
evoked
after
such
this.
awe and wonder in my imagination as Mario 64 has.
Ooh, Silver
Oh,
Fox
no, this
is
guy
doing
again.
his accounts. I do wonder whether he's using an Excel spreadsheet. If not, I'd be happy to demonstrate how I excel at spreading myself on the sheets. Perhaps we could work on his books together.
I don't want to see that demonstration.
I've been known to make the occasional double entry. Let's just hope he's projecting for inflation. I have a feeling that his assets are only going to increase in the very near future.
Why you gotta say it like that?
The 1986 Gremlin Graphics released the game Jack the Nipper, apparently based on a cartoon strip in the UK called Sweeney Toddler. In the game, you play a little naughty baby, and somehow you're allowed out on the street to get up to all kinds of naughty hijinks, from scaring cats, using weed killer to destroy a lovely flower bed, and carrying your pea shooter around to get up to all kinds of naughty mischief.
So basically, this whole game is about my childhood, then. No, I'm just kidding. I was a good kid, probably. I mean, there are things people tell me that I don't remember, but
it's a lovely Beano-esque game. Next on the list is How to Be a Complete Bastard, based on the book of the same name.
I don't need to do this. I don't need to know this.
Released via Sentient Software. In the game, you play as a naughty man who goes to a party and decides to get 16 of the guests to leave, and you can do that by simple, harmless pranks.
Okay, this is
all the
like
way up
something.
to attempted manslaughter. You have a toilet meter, which means
What?
you go poopy or wee-wee if you want, and also a fart meter, so you can let off eggy woofers in the party. It's not that.
Okay, sorry about that. A lawnmower or a helicopter just passed overhead.
Good a game, but if you want a
Yes,
slightly more
both can
adult
do that
version
here.
of Jack the Nipper with drugs and booze and alcohol and violence, give it a go. And finally, my favourite bastard in video games is Conker, from Conker's Bad Fur Day, released in 2001 via Rare on the N64.
I think I only remember playing this game once. My brother didn't want me playing it for some reason. I think he figured it would corrupt me or something.
Lost, and you have to find your way home.
I don't know
Simple,
why.
isn't it? No, because
I
along
was
the
never
way you're
pure
going to
to
meet a
begin
lot
with.
of weird shit, like a singing poo, an alien, and Omaha Beach. That's tasteful. So if you like a game where you get drunk and happily sacrifice a cute little baby dinosaur just to advance your own objective, then give this one a go. It's one of my favourite games.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing.
What's about to happen here?
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
Is Digitiser going to the moon? Will we be free? Will we be finally free? Will I regain my sanity?
Live from the Sisyphus Memorial Playhouse
What?
at Queen's Holiday Park for one night only.
Wait,
Buzzing
what?
Fully nude.
What?
Well, ahead. It's the
know
part
where
of the
I'm
show
going.
where everyone argues about things that don't matter. So let's talk about this. Today we're going to talk about two very famous home computers of the 1980s. The Commodore 64, represented tonight by Team A.
And there's
who
that
I'm
lawnmower
calling
helicopter again.
Don't look at my herpes book. Team A, I'm calling you Team Lookin' Magazine today, and you'll be defending the Commodore 64, right?
Oh, look. Simples.
Excellent.
The
Team B,
light.
you will be defending the mighty ZX Spectrum.
Alright, so I have no opinion on either of these since I never owned one. I think I might have said in another video on my other channel that that my brother owned one of these. He actually told, because that was something my mom had told us, told me anyway, but she might have been thinking of the Atari. But my brother, according to him, he never owned one of these, and we never owned one, so I don't have any opinion on either.
Oh, it's very exciting. And I will call you Team Fast Forward Magazine, the BBC alternative to Lookin'. Team Lookin', what's your opening gambit? What's the big seller? Why should this be king?
It's the biggest selling home computer of all time, even to this day.
It was so
It is?
primitive. It was the first computer to have a CD-ROM drive.
Really?
Therefore,
That's what I've heard.
creating multimedia.
It coined the term multimedia.
What's your opening gambit on the ZX Spectrum?
It was the computer that defined British gaming in the 1980s.
True, it's also something I heard because most of what I know about this comes from like lazy game reviews, by the way.
Simple as popular in the UK?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the Spectrum was considerably more popular in the UK, even though the Commodore did all right here.
If you bought it,
I remember hearing that the like the little keys that people didn't like them because they were too small and they were kind of gummy or something.
Games.
I will say that just from a personal point of view, very satisfying.
Okay, but are we talking the first model of the ZX Spectrum or the Spectrum family? Spectrum.
Oh well, I don't know how.
Clicking your fingers at me, you rude man. The other family. Oh, you've been sassy.
Don't go there, girlfriend.
What?
Which is prettier? Is the Commodore prettier than the Spectrum?
I have no
idea. Look how yellow this thing is.
Speak about the brown.
Yeah. Pardon?
Do we have to?
Yeah. You have to. It was a spectacularly brown console. The graphics, I mean, you know, the Spectrum was vibrant, it was alive, it was colourful. That was just brown. All the graphics looked like they'd been stirred with brown paint.
What were the big games for this then?
You also had more recognisable characters on the Spectrum, I think. I mean, you had Horace, for example, who is an abomination, but who's still recognisable.
Jack the Nipper.
Is he?
Manic
I don't know who he is.
Monty Mole as well.
Monty Mole.
What did Commodore leave behind?
The Amiga.
Oh dear.
Well,
yeah. Oh, I should really. It was the first time I fell in love with games. It was my first love.
Without that, we'd never have had the very show we've got
exactly.
right now.
You can't really argue.
Thank you, Sinclair, for everything you've contributed to the declining sanity of the world. You've done humanity a great service by creating the ZX Spectrum.
Give me that, can you? Even though you probably will.
I won't. For once, and maybe the only time this series, I'm on your side.
What, you haven't heard our story?
Wow.
He doesn't need to.
I might not need to, but do you have any moments? Any
okay then.
emotional moments?
The feud
Because
has
it was
ended.
so much more accessible. People who were perhaps not in such affluent families, they were able to afford it, and you're able to play games
Don't
and
say plebs. You know what? Forget it. With that remark, that classist remark, Spectrum wins this.
Yeah.
Quite right too. Congratulations, Team Fast Forward. Unfortunately for you, Jenny, you're on a team with someone who supports the upper crust.
She had a BBC.
Oh no, that was head to head. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, this is good.
A scapegoat?
Maybe.
Blame the mollusk. Mollusks. Nature's pricks.
So, I can just blame mollusks for every single one of my problems. Let me think. I don't think I have any problems right now, but I'm just gonna blame mollusks for every future one. Like anything that happens, if I end up dead, or I fall out of an airplane, or I don't know, riptide or red tide, or any number of stuff, you're to blame, man. You are to blame.
Hi, end of the showtime. So we're going to have another big game. Some of you may remember the classic arcade game from, I think it was Midway.
Why is there a giant lobster in the NHS guy?
Blank faces here.
We're not giving you anything, you don't deserve it.
Quiet you.
The lobster. I'm genuinely threatened by your monkey fist.
The classic Midway game, Rampage, in which a group of monsters would smash down buildings. So we're
Is that why he's a giant lobster with teeth?
Because I thought that would be a bit fun.
Whoever gave him that was a really bad idea.
Just so, you right there?
Yeah. No, seriously though. Seriously.
Please let me do it.
I have to put an injunction in?
Ooh, good boy.
You won me over with it. You had a joke.
What did you think I was going to do with it? Grab your goiter and twang it. We have Paul Cannon. There he is. You know him. We have Mr. Ayres, who somehow ended up in every episode. We have Top Hat Game Man. I can't touch your rim with my fist.
Be careful.
And here we have a big lobster, aka the Nostalgia Nerd, who is going to go first.
The Lobstalgia Nerd.
Lobstalgia Nerd. Right,
Well,
so the aim of the game is we have 3 towers of buildings, and the aim is to destroy the buildings.
Why is he
Here
the only
we
one?
have,
Why is the Nostalgia
on
Nerd the only
side,
lobster?
We have F. Mitchell from E Enders.
No.
Over here for the kids, because children love him. It's PewDiePie. Children love him, don't they? You know what else you like? Fortnite.
Well, Do we?
You love that, don't you?
I don't.
Fortnite and him.
But then again, I'm not exactly
That's the two things that
I
children
mean,
love.
I'm not exactly a kid
and we're
right
mentioning
now
them on this show.
anymore,
Go and
but
tell your friends.
I don't.
Don't
Still.
run out there and go, I just watched the Digitiser show, and they
And
mentioned
PewDiePie.
PewDiePie and Fortnite. Yeah, and while you're out, you gone.
To be honest, I don't think you need PewDiePie. This show is popular. This show is like, this show is good enough without him.
You think they're shit.
It's good enough without Fortnite too.
We're old and we don't care what you think. We're taking gaming back for our generation. Middle-aged men.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not middle-aged.
I said women. There might be women up here. Or are there? You think we'd like to go and get you into your costumes? So, are you ready then? Okay, well,
Just as I said,
there's
Amiga
usually some sort
H2.
of arbitrary time limit. I don't know what it might be.
Do I have to flatten them?
Without knocking over the inhabitants. We haven't thought this through.
Really? I never thought.
Hang on. No. I'm not touching him with my bare hands. He's been on the internet.
Well, so have you, but.
Yes, I've not said stop. There we go. Yeah. Smash those buildings.
I don't know. What exactly do you win with this game? Oh no!
Rise down.
Nothing of value was lost.
He didn't really flatten any of them. That one. And he knocked all the people down. It's reset.
Is there anything to reset after this?
It's time for our next challenger.
Dump
It is
tower.
Top Hat Gaming Man. Will you please join me behind the towers? Oh, he's a fearsome T-Rexy Godzilla thing. Off you go!
Well, all the people are dead.
Whoa!
Whoa!
There goes his coccyx. Oh, get out of the way. Whoa!
Oh man. This is more impressive. There's some buildings back there. Wow.
Well, I think that was fairly conclusive. Well done. You may now go and de-Rex.
Thank you. I feel much better now. Thank you.
We'll have a little. Okay, and our next contestant it's Mr. Hares as Slenderman.
Is this what Slenderman does, though?
And destroy that city. Oh,
No, so this is
a
what he...
magnificent egg sack on the back of his head.
That's what I'm wondering what that was. Like, why does he have like an egg sack?
He's killed the citizens already. They're down.
Isn't that what Slenderman does? Doesn't he kill
Bubbling
people?
around. He's like.
I never saw the Slenderman movie, but is this what happened? Can somebody tell me in the comments or email me? I assume this is what happened. I assume it's just like this. I didn't want to pay money to see it. If it is, then I still don't have to. I can just watch this and get
like
enough.
that popular meme, Slenderman. Yeah, that'll do. Unless you just want to ride around some more. Oh, well done, Mr. Hares. You're on Slendermaning.
Okay,
City's been reset.
Who's
We've got
next?
new citizens, Man from Del Monte and Dinklage. It's time for the next challenger. It's Paul Gannon, the big baby.
I've done a big poo.
Why is he on me?
Swallowed by the baby, I think.
I feel like this was. He's a big baby.
Off you go.
I think you're trying to say something here.
What a move! Oh, and the citizens are still upright. I hadn't seen this coming. This is something else. He's tearing the buildings apart with his bare hands. He's now. Oh, baby's over. Oh, Digitizer's is down. Digitizer's is being pounded into the ground here. Oh, go Gannon. Go, baby! Oh my God! Live kick! The most exciting thing I've ever seen! What am I doing with my fucking life?
Good
Last
question.
One. Come on now, baby!
That's the same one Evan asked myself for the last 2 years.
Time up!
Yes, he won. He won something
Well,
for
that was
once.
a fun game, wasn't it, boys and girls? So we're going to tot up the final score. Oh, look!
Ooh, I gotta cover that up. Probably not gonna. What? Well, okay.
Digitiser show catering to very specific fetishes.
I don't know what's happening. I never know what's happening in this show anymore. What's going on over there? So, who wins?
You done? You finished? Yeah. He's finished, ladies and gentlemen. And that was another episode of Digitiser the show.
So Timmy's getting dead. Well.
I love retro video game shows. You can never have too many.
Well, I disagree. You can only have one, and it better be this one, because this one's the best one. Alright, so, this one, because of what happened in the third, where I said that in my review for the third episode, I said the pacing was off. This felt more, well, the pacing was back where it was for the first and second episode, so that's good. I didn't notice any type of, like, issues with like the video or anything, or the sound quality, which happened in the first and third episode. Because like at one point the video became choppy in the third, and the other one the video quality dropped in the first one. But I didn't really notice anything. I particularly love how it seems like every end of every episode is supposed to descend into absolute chaos. Like that. Like, we didn't even find out who won. Then again, nobody won the Niven's Pranny thing. Well, except for me, I actually enjoyed that whole thing, but oh man. But this one was this one is like a step up from the third episode. It's really a step from the third episode in terms of quality and sort of quality and pacing. And I really enjoyed this one in particular because I got to learn a little bit more about the Spectrum and the Commodore 64 that I didn't already know. Because, like I said, we never owned one. But that's one of the reasons why I'm into a lot of this stuff, because I want to learn about a lot of the retro gaming games and the computers and the systems that they were used on, because I wasn't around for a lot of it. My brother was, and he knew about it, knows a little about it, but he didn't. But like I said, we didn't have money, so we never owned any of them. But still, that's one of the reasons why I like this, because I'm getting to learn and I'm getting to laugh at the insanity as my sanity meter goes ever lower. I mean, right now it's probably in the negatives because I'm doing a video where I'm essentially talking to myself. So, yeah, and now I have 2 channels where I can do this. So if I were to rate this episode, I think I would give it 5 Commodore 64s out of 1 great show, I guess. I don't know. I'm making up rating systems as I go, and I'm ad-libbing everything. So with that, I'm going to end this video here. Be sure to check out my other videos, as well as Prizebox specials of the videos, as well as channels Prizebox Gaming and Prizebox Reacts. And also, remember to check out the True Andrew M, my main channel. Thanks for watching, and stay jamming, everyone. If you're all still sane after that.